Hey there again, Rubber Band coming at you with Impressioning Information Part 2, what you need to get started. So, what you're going to need grip, mine, commercial, otherwise. You can use locking pliers if you want. That's bright. You're going to need files. Specifically, you're going to want a file that works well for you. You thought I was going to say something specific. So, some people like Pippins. I have a few. You're going to need a round file. I have a few. So, you can choose either 6-inch length, like these, or all 6-inch, 8-inch, which that is. And this is a number of files for various purposes, but I'm going to recommend, for the sake of being a beginner, in case you are one, round files. Number 4 cut, Swiss cut, round file. You can choose Valorbe, Grobet, or Nicholson. They will all work as long as you make sure to get a fine cut file. So, we've got all these files, and then I also recommend that you use a bit of sandpaper. If you keep an impressioning kit like I do, I go here because this is part of my key blank prep. Oh, what does that look like? Well, let's check that out. All right, files go away. Wouldn't it be funny if I just was like, and then it disappeared? I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'll figure it out, and then I'll make that happen. Okay, so we've got our handle. We're gonna get our key blank. In this instance, I will be prepping for an Ilco lock. So, key blank, lock. We're going to prep our grip. So as part of my process, I do everything the same way every time. So this always goes on the right. And then I will make sure to line the back of the bow up with that screw, and then I'm going to tighten that back screw first. Once it clamps, then I'll finish off up here. So I only do one side because I leave these screws slightly proud, and they dig in once these two screws push against it. And I have that set up that way for the sake of competition. I want it to be faster. In fact, I need it to be faster if I'm going to compete with all the people that are already so much faster than me. Yos, looking at you. Holly, looking at you. Jan Willem, looking at you. Nigel, looking at you. Datagram, looking at you. There's a lot of people faster than me. I could probably name more if I knew all of them. Okay. This has plating on it. This is nickel silver. We need to get rid of that. How are we going to do it? Oh, it's going to be with a file. So, nick this off. And you want it until it's shiny and you can see the brass underneath it with no remnants of the nickel, because that will obscure your marks. So that's shiny and bright. Okay, now what I will do is I will sand it from here. I have a sanding block. I use it just for this. I will rock this up and I will just rub the the rasped surface that I just prepared until it's got a mirror finish. I want to be able to see really strong reflection. All right, good. I need to angle it a little bit more. This is a paracentric key, so it's not something I prepare all the time, but great. The preparation for that is done. So I would be ready to mount this up and get to work. Well, what are you going to mount it in? Maybe your pick vise? No, don't do that if you can help it. If that's all you have, it will work. What I use is this. This is a pair of Manfrotto super clamps that are bolted together. They come with 2 screws down here in the jaw. So you would clamp it to your work top, like, back it up. All right, like this. And then clamp the lock like this. Okay. Also, this is not my idea. I took this idea from both Yoss and Holly. I don't know where they got that information from, but it is a pretty common preparation to see now. I think Jan Willem does it too. I'm not sure how Nigel clamps his. I'm using all these people as references because they are they're up there in impressioning skill level, and the way that they all do stuff is of consideration. So pretty firm. This is a movable shelf. So, but it's still, this holds it really well. It's not slipping or going anywhere, and that's important. So once you start making marks, you know, like I like to rock up, go over, rock up and down. I didn't clamp one of the sides tight enough. So now I'm going to do that because I want it to, oh, yeah. This is off the cuff, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Okay, so now with no key blank drift, turn it over, rock up and down. Okay, now there's marks on here, but how are we going to find them? There's a few ways. I use optics. And I recommend everybody have optics of some sort or another. That can take the form of impressioning tabletop lamp. This one lights up. Head-mounted visors. I use these because they're what I use in the field, and they're what I'm very comfortable with. I have had the determination to not practice for any of these impressioning competitions outside of what I do normally, and also to try to make my field work as effective as possible. That includes the gear that I would use in the field. This is a Grobe Optivisor number 2 lens. I think these are anywhere from $40 to $80, depending on where you get them. This is a Foley bell saw. Japanese. It's old. I got it. I don't even remember. I think from my mentor when he decided to start using a really powerful blade manufacturer. And then also ProLock makes one and it look like that. It has lights on the side. You can do whatever you want. You can use a microscope. You can use highly zoomed in phone, borescope, what have you. Lockmasters makes this. It attaches to a mag light. I think this was already something that was prepped for some other purpose, and they just cut notches in it and they sell it that way. But anyway, the mag light goes in here, and you can look through here, and you hold your key right here, and it shows marks. I have not managed to find a way to make all that stuff show up very well on video. Then it will be something I will have to leave to a more talented videographer and or pay somebody to do for me. Wait for my Patreon link in the description. That's a joke. I'm not going to do that. So all that stuff gets you ready to go. And it's a lot of steps, really. You know, it's more tedious than lockpicking, but you know, you can take breaks, come back to stuff if you feel like you're doing pretty good. Or if you're Yoss, you can open a lock blind that you're somewhat familiar with while pretty drunk in about 3 minutes while walking back and forth on an upright door, which bewildering to do that just blind, but very impressive, and I like watching it. So this is that part. So I kind of showed how to make marks and how to prep. You know, I don't have the technical skills to show you that up close, but that will get you started. Now, outside of that, it's important to have a place with good enough light. I would say the amount of light that's in this particular video is a good amount of light. If you don't have good light, you're not going to see marks very well. They can be very subtle depending on the lock, or very pronounced depending on the lock. Now, what lock would I suggest you start out with? Any wafer lock that has an easily obtainable key blank. That can be like an old Yale padlock, which tends to use a Y11 key blank. That's another very important part. You're going to need key blanks. Now, depending on the lock, I'll sell you keep links. You email me, rubberband@gmail.com, or get at me on the Discord or on Twitter. I'm the same name everywhere. And I will try to get you blanks at a pretty reasonable rate. I tend to do 15 blanks for $10, then no shipping, and you'll be up somewhere like $15 for 15 blanks, you know. So just let me know, and I'll do my best to get those to you. I'm trying to get more people involved in impressioning. This is a skill that tends to become more interesting towards people that get around purple belt, or rather midway up the skill ladder of lock picking, you know, either for a quest or because it's a novel way to get a lock open. Either way, it's something that you can do that isn't picking, you know, that and safe manipulation, but safes, they're a whole other egg to crack. No pun intended. So if you really like to be pretty accurate in your impressioning, if you have a book that tells you depths like this one, or the HPC depth space data, which is a free download on their website, you can dial in stuff specifically with something like this. These are Lishy clippers. If you if you get a mark and you see that you definitely have a mark, you can nick this down, 15 thousandths using the 5 thousandths side. And that's a whole Schlage depth, 15 thousandths from 0 to 1 and so on. So also, if you have like the nipper guides that Red Team Tools just came out with, this is a handy tool to have. I have 3 of these things because I think they're so useful that I feel like just having them in a bunch of kits. So so this is part 2. This is just general ramblings. I want to get people involved, and this is going to be also the announcement. In the next video, I'm going to have a very short primer and talk to you about a project that I've got coming up. So anyway, I've been Rubberband. Thanks for watching.